Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Irongeek Cast number 199. Oh, I totally just misspelled that. It's supposed to be don't turn off your automatic lock screen.
Well, it's all good. You changed the title from what I wanted anyway, so we'll go with what you want. Because it's your cast, because you are the Iron Geek. Me, I'm just the busted sec.
So, we're getting into politics today in the introduction, since we'll have a section for that, a very small section later. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing good. I mean, it's been a hectic day on the news channels. Everybody knows. Well, not everybody's necessarily watching this cast right now. You know, it's like they might watch it later on, a couple of days from now, and by then everyone's going to know what the hell happened today. But right now, a lot of people don't.
I don't know different versions of it depending on which part of the media you listen to.
It's kind of hard to get an unbiased accounting of what's actually going on.
No, I will say that, I don't know how many actual news, just straight news reporters there are out there anymore. Because even the right ones and the left ones seem fairly
they're all biased.
partisan.
Yeah, I was posting about that on my Facebook feed today about how essentially we've got a lot of bias in media. We've got far right outlets and we got far left outlets, and we got some that are kind of in the center and they try to stick to just the facts, but even they often go on talking about their putting their own opinions into the pieces rather than just reporting the news. So it's kind of hard. I mean, like I like NPR and BBC News and shit like that because it tends to it's dry, but they deliver the facts and they don't always go off on tangents. But even then, you're gonna get some bias in your news, so it's hard. I think you just got to read everything. Read between the lines. Read the shit that the far left is posting. Read the shit the far right is posting. Read the center stuff. Read it all, and then make your own assumption based on reading between the lines. So,
I listen to a lot of YouTube channels.
Me too.
By YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube's good. I like YouTube. There's a lot of good stuff on there. There's a lot of misinformation on there too, but there's some good shit on there. Yeah, I found this guy who made all these hacking videos. Who he'd go and record the cons.
Oh yes.
I subscribe to his channel. He's good shit.
The one that gets a lot of shit from Twitter accounts that usually have anime avatars, or well, actually that's not really true. They have all sorts of fucked up avatars.
All right, the avatars can be anything, man. My avatar right now is a picture I took when I was on a hike. I was literally hiking and I saw some cool graffiti. I took a picture of it and I made that my avatar. And if anybody can tell me where that graffiti is from and actually geolocate it, I would be incredibly impressed. I know we've got some people who are really good at OPSEC shit who watch this cast who've done shit in the past, or like post a picture of my girlfriend, but she's in the background, and then the dude comes to me, he's like, "Hey, I know where your girlfriend works." And he tells me the name of the company, and I get all freaked out. I'm like, how the fuck did he figure that out? People are good at OPSEC, so I got to get better at, well, not OPSEC, OSINT. I got to get better at the words, combinations, brain hurt. Essentially, I get better at not leaking so much data, is what I'm saying. But anybody playing Cyberpunk? Darren?
Nope, I knew it was going to be full of bugs and shit, so I opted to wait.
Now, how'd you know? Did it have a very short development life, or what?
Constant
7
delay.
years. 7 years of development.
Yeah, it was supposed to be out like a year ago, and they kept on delaying it and delaying it and delaying it and cutting features, and I'm like, that's not a good sign.
That reminds me, did Duke Nukem Forever ever come out?
Yeah, a couple years ago, and it was pretty bad.
Okay. Because I know they announced that, I want to say, back in like 95, 96 or something.
Why do people eat spaghetti squash for real? I know it's supposed to be healthy, but it tastes
Jason, you might want to mute yourself for not speaking, because there's some background noise coming in from you.
Wait?
No, Jason.
Oh.
He muted.
How's everybody else doing then? Anybody else who hasn't chimed in yet?
Well, I'm trying to recover from the shingles vaccine.
Okay.
What happened? What are your side effects from the shingles vaccine?
Well, let's see. I woke up with a low-grade fever, body aches, a headache, arthritis in the joints and hands, just feeling just like garbage.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
Well, the doctor said if you get a reaction to the first vaccine, you'll get a reaction to the second. But that's the end of it. You just have to have 2 of those stupid things.
Yeah. I know more and more of the vaccines you have to get a booster shot after the initial dose. It used to be a lot of them were just one-offs, but seems like a lot of them, the way they're making them now, you need that booster. Like even the coronavirus one, you need to get a booster for it.
Well, I mean, the hepatitis, you need to take 2 of them as 6 months apart. This one, I think it was required to be 2 months apart. And the thing is most people have had the chicken pox, which, what happens is people later in life will, they carry the chicken pox around and it'll show up and give them the shingles, which is a reoccurrence of the chicken pox. Well,
Yeah, I've had it. It's not fun.
I never had chicken pox.
Oh, so you.
So I got slammed.
Yeah, it'll happen. I mean, not everybody gets every disease as a kid. So, when I was a kid, I got sick all the time. So, I guess I've got some immunity now to a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, did you ever get the varicella vaccine?
I don't know what that is.
The chickenpox vaccine.
Oh no, I never got the vaccine for it. I actually got the chickenpox.
Well, no, that was more for Barry. Sorry.
Oh,
It was a shingles vaccine, and they gave it to me, and I didn't read the details.
Okay, because if you they have a vaccine for varicella now, so they should have given that to you. They gave you shingles.
I mean, yeah, whatever. They just gave me the vaccine because it was on the schedule, and I knew to take the day off yesterday, and I got whacked today, so I took a sick day.
it's always good to take a sick day when you're actually sick instead of just going out drinking or something.
Yeah.
I know I've wasted many sick days when I was not actually sick at past jobs. Just wanted a day off,
I rarely use up my sick days. I mean, I can't even think if I've used up all my sick days in a couple of decades.
I've actually had the ability to take what they call mental health days at some jobs, which is neat. Or if you're just not feeling up to working one day, you can call out. And you don't get paid for the day, but you don't get penalized either, which is a neat thing to be able to do.
Well, I do have some flexibility there. I mean, not for mental health days, but I can, if I need to work a weekend or something like that, or I need to do something different, I can say, okay, I'm not going to work on a Tuesday. I'm going to work on a Friday or Saturday or Sunday or something like that.
That's cool. It's nice to have flexibility at a job. Yeah, my job is right now pretty much, I get paid hourly. I'm expected to put in a certain amount of hours every day. But if I need to shift the timing around, it's not really a big deal as long as I do the things I'm assigned, So it's all good.
Well, many days I start at 5 a.m.
Why the hell would you do that to yourself?
Because then I can get out at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I can take care of business.
Well, that actually does sound kind of nice. Maybe go on an afternoon fishing trip when it's nice out. Some cool shit. I don't like getting up early, though. It's not my favorite thing to do. I set up for a hike this weekend, and the hike starts at 9, but it's in upstate New York. I don't live in upstate New York, so I'll be commuting to this hike, and means I got to get up early and I hate getting up early. Not only getting up early, but then I'm going on a hike for like 8 miles, and I'm a fat, lazy bastard, and I don't want to do either of those things, so I don't know why I did this, but yeah, you do what you do.
Well, I'm actually waking up, all times of the night anyway. So I'm naturally getting up at 4 a.m. or 4:30.
Yeah, I wake up all night too, but I usually force myself to go back to sleep, even if it takes hours. I don't sleep well. I never have. Went to the doctor last week to get some sleeping pills. I went to the ENT doctor, and he's like, you're using your CPAP machine? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you still can't sleep? I'm like, yep. And he goes, all right, well, I'm going to get a compliance report, and I'm going to run it and see how compliant you are with the CPAP. And depending on that, we'll see where we're going to go and if I can get you some sleeping pills. I just want the sleeping pills. I tried to sign up on Lemonade. It was one of those sites where they do you can do a doctor's visit. I made a mistake of mentioning that they have a CPAP machine. They wouldn't give me the pills. So, yeah, I'm just trying to get something so I can finally get the fuck to sleep at night. So I got these stupid glasses. I mean, you're like, why is this asshole wearing sunglasses in his house at night? They're blue light blocking glasses, and they block out all of the UV and blue light spectrum shit. So it's supposed to make it easier for you to fall asleep. Sleep's a big issue.
Yeah, and luckily I've set up my bedroom with minimal light as much as I can. I mean, other than the smoke detector, which has a little green light that blinks, I put the shades on and everything else. I got all the electronic gear out of the room. So no more blinky lights and junk like that.
Good move, man. I have an issue where I can't really fall asleep unless I'm like listening to something. So I usually have I use my Google Home now, but I used to use YouTube, and the light from the TV would also keep me awake some nights. So that was stupid, but getting better. Anyway, so if you're not living under a rock, which I hope none of you are, you guys know that all hell is breaking loose in DC and Georgia and a bunch of other states today because of the political stuff.
Yeah, I saw that.
So essentially, Biden got the electoral votes got processed, and he is now officially the president-elect, even though he's been calling himself that since the media called the election in his favor.
Question: actually, has that been made official yet? Because I thought they couldn't hold the session because of what's going on, or have they kicked everybody out of the building already?
You know what? I'm not really sure. You probably know more about that than I do.
As far as I know, they're all out of the building.
Announced that he was going to be the president-elect.
Okay.
Well, what actually happened is Pence named the Biden electors when he called Arizona, and then Senator Ted Cruz raised the objection, which had the signature from the House also. And so then that goes to a 2-hour debate in both houses. And when that happened, all hell broke loose. And, then, they were disrupted and they stopped the count. So it stopped at Arizona, as far as I know.
So they haven't completed the process yet.
That's right.
But
No, they were still really early.
Yeah, I suppose it is.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what's going on in the news. There was rioting. It was protesting, and it was. I don't know why they're saying people are rioting. I mean, it's what is it? Maybe 2% of the people are rioting. So that means it's mostly peaceful, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there. I see some people on Facebook complaining about cops getting selfies with some of the protesters, but they're not all the same people. They're not all doing the same shit. As far as treatment, I mean, apparently one woman got shot and they did tear gas inside the dome. So it's not like they're trying to handle this with completely light gloves. But
somebody media was also saying that they might have been tear gassing police, like people had their own tear gas.
The opposite way. Well, I mean, most civilians aren't going to have tear gas. I got the impression this was like dispersal tear gas, not something like what you carry on your.
They were calling it chemical agents.
As far as I know, they actually did pop both tear gas and mace, so or some kind of spray.
Pepper balls.
The cops,
Pepper balls.
The cops are the rioters.
I heard rioters actually spraying the cops with pepper spray or mace or some kind of OC spray. But I also heard cops were actually popping off like tear gas canisters, like the actual the area dispersal ones, or maybe pepper balls or something.
Oh, another bit of news on that. Apparently, Mike Pence unfollowed Trump on Twitter.
That's great.
Well, they did identify some Antifa / Black Lives Matter individuals in the crowd that entered the Capitol, and they identified one guy was wearing the horns and whatever that outfit he was wearing. He was definitely a BLM guy. So they snuck in and went to the front of the line too.
Okay, I didn't look into that. Someone said he was an environmentalist, but as far as I also read, someone posted an article that but I think they said the Proud Boys were going to imitate Antifa. But not exactly. I mean, everybody's wearing masks these days, and quite frankly, if you all look the same and you plan on doing something together, that the black bloc technique is so that it's hard to distinguish who's who, so that you can't prove something during a later arrest.
And Adrian, that whole thing about Mike Pence was actually bullshit. He's still following Trump.
Oh, it was bullshit. Okay.
Yeah, and apparently people were also saying that Pence changed his Twitter banner to be of Kamala and Joe, but that's actually bullshit too. That's
okay. I hadn't heard that.
That's him and his wife.
Okay.
So politics, we've gotten politics down. And we got a ton of InfoSec and other random shit to talk about today.
Okay.
So we spent our politics time. We got it out of our systems.
Well, you have to skip over to where because it's later in the notes originally, I think. Yeah. Oh, you may have moved it.
So yeah, we're going with the organic flow today.
Okay, okay. What is the smellicopter?
All right, this is pretty cool. So, you know how
are we
scientists are insane, right? Let me share my screen here. Hold on a second. Hide that notification. Close this. I love this shit. Like, people like building stuff and fusing organic stuff with electronics is always kind of cool. Like, that's what the whole cyberpunk game's about. Like, you're able to kind of fuse technology with the human body and biohacking type stuff. Anyway, this is combining some animal parts with electronics to make a helicopter that is very, very accurate in its ability to track scents. And why would you want to do that? Well, things like bombs have unique chemical signatures that can be smelled, which is why we have bomb sniffing dogs. Well, what if we didn't have to risk the life of a dog? What if we just had some electronics that could do the same shit? And I'm trying to share my screen, and there it is. All right. So let's close out the other stuff. All right. Can you see it? Are we good? No. All right. So this drone here that is, it's got like 3 dev boards stacked on top of each other here.
It's not on YouTube. There it is now. Okay.
All right. So they took a moth's antenna, and now this approach they're doing, it literally only lasts 4 hours, right? And then you got to get another antenna because it's dying. So, but still cool. It's super sensitive, and they're able to use a moth antenna and attach it to the innards, essentially, of this little developer board that's sitting on top of a drone, right? And then they're able to slap this on there, on this open source Crazy Fly quadricopter, and it's like a hybrid animal machine now, where it's able to use that little antenna they put there to smell things, which is freaking cool. So theoretically, an application for this could be, They're like, they get a bomb threat, right? And normally you'd have a bomb sniffing dog. Well, now you could have something like this where it can look out. It can find that C4 or whatever it's programmed to look for just by smell. And we got sensors for all sorts of shit on Arduinos and on Raspberry Pis, but we don't have anything that can actually smell, use the olfactory stuff until now. And this is really freaking cool. So essentially we're just combining a little helicopter here with that technology, and it's searching out for the smell. It's avoiding obstacles because it's got a little bit of AI programming in there, and it finds it, which is freaking cool. I mean, I think it's cool. Some people might not think it's cool, but it's neat technology, man. I mean, yeah, we have to anesthetize a moth and keep it on ice. It's a moth. I mean, they're a dime a dozen. It's not like we're dealing with an animal that's hard to come by here. And yeah, there might be some people who object ethically to the whole we're killing a bug thing, but it's a bug. It's a moth. They're stupid little butterfly-like things that go towards light. I mean, come on. So, yeah, I think it's cool.
When the moth is an adult, it's at end of life anyway. It's not going to live more than a few months.
Right. No, it's a bug. It's not going to live long. We have people who literally have protein bars that are made out of bugs that they eat. So you can't really have that whole higher than thou thing about killing animals when it's just a moth. I'm sure some people will still object because it's technically some kind of essentially torturing an animal, for scientific progress, but it's a moth. So, and they anesthetize it, and then they just chop off its antenna, which it's got two of. So, double your pleasure, double your fun. It's so cool though. I mean, look, they have a robot dog that can smell. They want to make a robot that can. They don't have a robot dog that can smell. I don't know why the fuck I said that. I misread things. They have dogs that can smell out cancer, and they want to take that same ability and give it to robots, because it would be really cool if you had a diagnostic machine that could actually smell out cancer, right? So there are lots of cool applications to a technology like this. And if you have to kill a couple of bugs so that you can get it to work, I think it's worth it, Like some things we can't do better than nature. Like smelling, dogs have better smell than humans. Bugs, certain bugs have better sense of olfactory stuff than dogs. It's some things we can't improve on from nature, but we can certainly interface with them and do some cool shit. So that's the whole smellicopter thing. It's on Wired if you want to read the story. I thought it was really neat. So, yep, that's that, the smellicopter. Next, we've got a story, which is not really InfoSec, but I'm just mixing everything together today. H&R Block is screwed up, right? They got a bunch of stimulus checks, and they people who were supposed to get them just didn't get them. They're claiming it's the way the government deposited it into their system, and there were some screw-ups. There are delays, and some people are not getting them. Other people logged in and found that their stimulus check was deposited into somebody else's account, which is kind of sucky. And other people yet had closed their accounts with H&R Block and other companies, and then had their checks deposited there, and the government said, no, nothing you need to do, just wait and we'll send you a check. So, yeah, it's a shit show with the stimulus checks. But I also heard in the news that people were not getting their stimulus checks. People had logged into people's accounts. There's no two-factor, and they just redirected checks because people had like weak passwords. Hopefully that's not happening too much. Next, we've got a new phishing attack vector. It's using an odd lore to deliver this Windows Trojan. This is the QRat Trojan, which we've talked about before. It provides hackers with complete command and control over infected machines. It's got the ability to like steal your passwords, steal your sensitive data. But the phishing emails they're using are a bit unconventional. So the new phishing email is a little bit different from the other ones we've seen in the past. It claims the victim has a good return on investment and could potentially catch the eye of stupid people. Oh, I mean victims. So they're using the Nigerian scam type thing. Like, we're going to offer you some money to get people to click it. However, it claims that it's coming from President Trump. Yeah. So President Trump is supposedly emailing random people, according to this phishing campaign, if you were to believe it, and telling them to invest money with him. And people are doing it because why? People are stupid. But does it actually ask for money? No. It asks you to download something. And when you download it, you infect your machine. It's a jar file. So you got to have Java runtime on your computer. Otherwise, that jar file is not going to do shit. But still, it's infecting a lot of people who are stupid and clicking this email and thinking the president's going to let them invest money with them. People are dumb. They fall for stupid phishing lures. Next, we've got some anti-secrecy activists publishing a bunch of victims' data. So if you are familiar with DDoSecrets, they've been in the news a bunch. In fact, you can't link to them from Facebook or Twitter anymore. They have amassed a controversial, a bunch of collections of corporate secrets, and they are sharing all this stuff in the name of transparency, kind of like WikiLeaks used to. And they are, of course, somewhat inspired by WikiLeaks here. So they're not questioning the source of how people get this data. They don't care. They're just going to publish it. So if you hacked a company and you found, like, I don't know, the CEO's computer is full of child porn, give it to the DDoSecrets. They will publish all that. Hopefully not the actual child porn. That was a really bad example that just came to my head. Anyway, they're publishing 750,000 emails, photos, and documents from 5 companies. And they're offering to share an additional 1.9 terabytes of data from a dozen other firms with selected journalists or academic researchers who are interested in it. Reminds me, I got to break out my fake journalist accounts and email people. All of that data, along with terabytes more of DDoSecrets, says it plans to offer in the coming weeks and months, is sourced from an increasingly common practice called ransomware. So these ransomware gangs, they have their own portals where they usually distribute shit, right? Sometimes they even auction it off and make money on it. But now, if a ransomware gang has found some stuff and they want to share it publicly, they can give it to DDoSecrets, and they don't care where you got it from. They're just going to share it, which is a little sketch. But they don't care if it's a pharmaceutical company or a petroleum company or a company with tech data and specs that can speed progress for an entire industry and make everybody safer. They say they have a duty to make available to researchers, journalists, scholars, and anybody else they can learn about typically opaque industries, yada, yada, yada. Essentially, they're just going to publish all the shit, which, hey, cool, you know?
I should mention that, at least in the United States, if you download stolen data, you're breaking federal law. So don't do it.
What if I do it from Russia? All right. Oh, spaghetti squash is bad.
Then why do you keep eating it?
Because I'm hungry. And I have to make pizza, but I don't want to right now. All right. We got some remote code execution bug found in a popular PHP scripting framework. So this is a web app tool called Zend Framework. And also, same vulnerabilities in some Llamas projects releases. I don't know what the heck the Llamanus project releases, rather. So popular versions of this developer tool, Zend Framework, and its successor, Laminas project can be abused by an attacker to execute code on PHP-based websites if they are running web apps that are essentially using this framework underneath. There are a lot of impacted versions stemming from version 3 and below on Zend and version 2.14 and below on Laminas. Yeah, we got another RCE bug that you can use and add to your arsenal. And yep, there's a GitHub page where they posted their statement about it. It's an unserialized function that has a long history of vulnerabilities. Yeah, it's kind of like a similar to a Java deserialization bug, but it's not on Java. So interesting shit. You can play with it, futz around, add it to your arsenal, add it to your tool set. Next, we've got a misleading title. So the title says, leading VPN service found to have a major backdoor security hole. It is not a VPN service, but shitty little routers that are often used with VPN services. So Zixel, I think that's how you say it, Zixel. Anyway, these little devices are often given or sold to people who are using VPNs that are very privacy conscious type shit, you know. So the backdoor account on these suckers that was found by examining the firmware, and essentially, if you've got one of these little routers and you are using it to, you know, try and remain anonymous through your VPN client, somebody can just remote into your router from the other end. They got root access right from extracting it from the firmware image. So they probably ran it through like binwalk, or they just ran strings against it and they found it. And it's running some kind of daemon that allows access from the WAN using that username and password. So, yep, not good. Not good at all. It's what happens when you use hardware that hasn't been thoroughly vetted. And yep. So next we've got Google warns of a critical Android remote code execution bug. I always like when you find something like RCE on Android. That probably pays really well for bug bounty hunters, right? These two critical vulnerabilities are part of January's Android security bulletin. It had like 43 bugs on the thing, and there were 15 bugs that were critical. So the first flaw is a RCE flaw in Android's system component, the core of the Android operating system. And another flaw, which was also serious, was just a DOS issue, essentially the ability to denial of service, maybe turn off a device or get it to reboot, or, you know, just tie up its resources. The most severe of these is the system component one, though, because this could allow a remote attacker to use a specifically crafted transmission to execute arbitrary code on the device with privileged access. So we are talking, you throw an exploit at an Android device and get shellback type stuff. Google has rolled out patches for it, but as you know, if you know anything about the Android architecture, the landscape, I guess you'd call it, it's very fragmented. You've got developers who are pushing active patches for your stuff if you're running like the Pixel series. But if you're running some no-name Chinese phone like a ZTE or something, the odds of you getting any firmware updates, or not even firmware, what do they call them? Just operating system updates. You're not likely getting them in any controlled fashion. And a lot of people run shitty phones, so this exploit might work on a wide range of those. So, yeah, always good to have tools in your arsenal, right? Something you could throw at a bunch of phones. Maybe if it's on your Wi-Fi, right? You could pwn somebody's phone that's on your Wi-Fi. That could be fun, right? Major gaming companies hit with ransomware linked to apt27. I forget which apt is which, but we're going to find out. So this is a Chinese linked apt. Is this Lazarus Group? Oh, we'll find out. So these guys usually hack pretty much any company that they think is a good value target, like somebody makes a lot of money type shit. They don't care about no-name companies that don't have a lot of revenue. So researchers found strong links to App27 when they were brought in doing incident response for ransomware activity on some gaming companies globally this last year. They had a bunch of incidents, and they obviously can't tell us the names of the companies, right? However, the information we do have says that the 5 companies that were attacked were large, among some of the largest in the world. App27 is also called Bronze Union, Lucky Mouse, or Emissary Panda. They've been around since 2013. It's a supply chain attack. The initial infection vector is through a third-party service provider that had been previously infected through another third-party service provider. They're doing some pivoting through service providers here. Malware samples were linked to a campaign from the beginning of 2020 called DRB Control. Trend Micro researchers previously discovered the campaign, had links to App27. Its hallmark was a backdoor that was essentially designed for gaming companies, and it used Dropbox for C2. Now, I can tell you, as the guy who's often in the seam, we tend to tune out Dropbox. We don't look at it because it's everywhere, and you know what? It's just noise. So most of the time, your seam guy is going to be tuning out the Dropbox alerts, so it's going to fly under the radar. Now,
what made the software gaming specific as far as remote access tools?
So the tool set itself, there was nothing specific in it that was gaming specific, but the tool set that they were using seems to have only they found it on 5 different companies, and all these companies were gaming companies. And this is essentially a company that does IR for a living, so they have a lot of clients. They've seen the tool set 5 times, and of those 5 times, it's on gaming companies' computers. So,
okay,
that's the takeaway. They found some older samples too of implants on other machines, and they also even found an ASPX spy web shell, which had been used by the same group in different cyber attacks. That's how they were able to do their attribution. Yeah, cool shit. Look, everyone's getting in everywhere with these supply chain attacks lately. It's a big thing. Next, we've got the Department of Justice saying that their employees' emails were accessed during the most recent supply chain attack that is in the news, the SolarWinds attack, which is scary because they also today formally announced it's definitely Russia behind the attack. And look, I had my doubts at first, and everybody always blames Russia. You never know. Russia, yeah, but they seem to have some definitive evidence, and they are pretty sure in their statement here that it's definitely Russia. All right, just dropped food on the floor.
It was probably Russia first, and nobody detected them, and then the Chinese came in, and the Chinese are noisy.
The Chinese are noisy. For a while, a former friend of mine used to make a joke about Mandiant back before they were FireEye, how if they were trying to find a threat actor on their network, they would just grep for Chinese characters on the network.
Well, they might have more novices from China trying to hack in. Not all are direct state actors. I remember seeing a documentary like 10 years ago or so, and there were Chinese citizens who will hack for patriotic reasons. Like if you somehow dishonor China. They actually seem to like the CCP. And they would deliberately get into stuff. I can imagine some of those people being pretty noisy.
Yeah.
And I think China kind of turns a blind eye to it. As long as they're not hacking Chinese systems, you're hacking American systems or English systems or something, go for it. At least that was the impression I got from the documentary. I wish I remembered the name of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, the whole SolarWinds thing is just, that's a shit show. and they had 6 months to be in like tons and tons of systems everywhere. So God knows what they actually traded. But the DOJ was able to piece together that they definitely accessed the emails of people in the DOJ. So that in and of itself is a pretty big breach if you were to think about what DOJ people might be emailing each other about, what cases, and they might have even got like information they can use with maybe, I don't know, it's the Department of Justice. So I guess somebody's on trial for something. Maybe they were able to get something out of that. Who knows? Use your imagination. The next article we have is pretty simple stuff. It's talking about how people have shitty passwords, and most people will repeat their password. Essentially, 66% of users repeat the same password and use it for everything.
I can imagine it was some derivation thereof.
Yeah.
Like, what was the? I'm trying to think of the gentleman's name that does a lot of DNS research. Anyway, he had a Dan Kaminsky. He had a scheme for a while where he would be like, "Fuck this company, fuck that company" as his password. Yeah. I believe that was the story. It's like 10 years old or something. Someone made a password generator for it.
Interesting. Anyway, so yeah, people have shitty passwords, and there are sites that sell access to breached passwords. So
when making it, even good security people sometimes choose bad passwords because maybe they just don't think the system's that important, but probably best not to.
Yeah. Adrian, can you pull up and do number 11? I have to use the restroom real quick. I'm not feeling so hot.
Okay. Hold on a second. Let me pull up 11 and I gotta make sure all my tabs are closed that are embarrassing. Let me see. That should be most of them. Okay, number 11. Infinite scroll. Let me see. And by the time I actually get this thing open, he's gonna be back. All right. Babuk Locker emerges as the first new form of ransomware in 2021. 5 days into 2021, already a new form of ransomware has emerged. Babuk Locker. Okay, I don't hate that name. First detailed Sunday by Chong Dong. This is bad. This is why Frank reads these.
Dong, yeah.
The ransomware uses its own implementation of SHA-256 encryption called SHA-8 that also uses a so-called elliptical curve Diffie-Hellman key generator to protect its keys and encrypted files. The SHA-256 is an encryption standard that has its roots within the U.S. National Security Agency, while ECDH has its own anonymous key agreement system. Okay, let's see if there's anything else interesting about this. Babuk is the latest to hit the radar, and it looks like the threat actors spent all of their Christmas money on pieces of code that they cobbled together to create this ransomware. Yeah, I've heard about people buying code from others to implement into stuff as far as ransomware is concerned. Definitely, if you're a ransomware offer, you'd want to review that code very well. You don't want someone else taking your money. Lama Bailey, Senior Director of Security Research and Cybersecurity for firm Tripwire Toad Silicon Angle. Okay, in the middle of the code, I put my own commentary in there, so actually go read the article, I guess. Some of the code is well done, and other areas, like multi-threading, is elementary. I suspect that they ran out of money to buy good code and instead pieced together what they had with bubblegum and baling wire. Bailey explained that if victims try to pay the ransom, they must upload files in the chat so that the hackers can make sure that they can decrypt the files. And there's likely a high failure rate. Will they make money? Absolutely, he said. But like many fads, this will be a thing of the past in a few months and will not generate a lot of money long term. Until then, stay away from 32-bit exe files. Okay. I really don't like reading the article, so does anybody have any commentary on it?
I already clicked off of it.
All right, I'm back.
Yeah, I finished the Babuk article.
Excellent. Which article? Number 11?
Yes.
Very good.
I didn't do nearly as good of a job as you did.
I'm sure you did excellent. I was busy getting rid of that spaghetti squash in more ways than one. Next, we've got hackers targeting cryptocurrency users with new ElectroRAT malware. ElectroRAT. Itzner Labs says it discovered some fake cryptocurrency apps laced with the ElectroRAT, which is a Go-based malware strain. Go. You know, when Go first came out, I thought this shit's not going to last. Now it's like everybody's using Go, even freaking.
I haven't ever used Go. I've heard of it. What is its main focus? I mean, what? Why should I choose it over something else?
Well, I don't know all that much about it. I think Google developed it, if I remember correctly.
I believe you're correct.
And it's just a scripting language, but it's, you know, I haven't really played with it, but yeah. Anyway, so this rat is written in Go, which is interesting in and of itself. And the malware is very intrusive. It has a lot of capabilities like a keylogger, taking screenshots, uploading files from disk, downloading files, running commands on the victim's console. You know, lots of cool shit built into it. So they say researchers believe the malware was being used to collect cryptocurrency wallet keys and then drain their accounts. So a good threat attack vector right there. You know, get on their computer and steal their crypto. A quirk of the malware's design, when it retrieves the address of its C2 server from a pastebin URL, the operation has infected about 6,500 users. Yeah, cool stuff. That's ElectroRAT. And next, we're going to be talking a little bit about your privacy apps that you use to message your friends and how secure they are. If I can get my screen share working again. There we go. All right. It should be up in a sec when Adrian hits the button.
Oh, sorry.
Hit the button for me, Adrian. That's it. Adrian, you hit my button. All right. We've got Telegram screwing you over and letting hackers track your address. That's what we'll start with. So Telegram Messenger says they are not going to be fixing this disclosure flaw. And if you're using Android and sometimes even iPhone, Telegram makes it easy for hackers to figure out where the heck you are when you enable the feature that allows users who are geographically close to you to connect, which is a stupid feature to have in a app like this. Researchers who discovered the vulnerability privately reported it to Telegram and were told that they have no plans to fix it. Problem stems from a feature called People Nearby. By default, it's turned off. Users then sometimes enable it, and their geographic distance is shown to other people who have turned it on, or people who happen to be spoofing being in the same region. And it can be a useful feature for people who want to communicate with people who might be near them. Think maybe like a protest or, I don't know, a gay pride parade. You want to talk to all the gay pride people? I don't know. So this guy, Ahmed Hassan, who's a security researcher, figured out that this feature can be abused to divulge exactly where you are whenever you've got your phone on, which Yeah. He's able to spoof his location because he rooted his Android. And by doing that, he can make it look like he's near you, and then just look at the nearby page, and it'll show all the people who are near in that location. And then you can essentially automate that process, right? So put some GPS coordinates in, look at the map, see who's there, record it to a table, put some different GPS coordinates in, look at the map, record it to a table, like that. So in a proof of concept video, he sent to Telegram, showed he could discern the address of nearby people when he used a free GPS spoofing app to make his phone report that he's in different places. He then asked that the video not be published, but there's a screenshot from it, which, you can triangulate where people actually are, which is a little scary. So if you have Telegram, do yourself a favor and do not enable that feature if you care about any rando being able to see where the heck you are, because that would be bad. Yeah. Look, I really, you could probably figure out where the heck I am using OSINT, so it's not that scary, but still, it's not the best for an app that's supposed to be about privacy, And speaking about apps that are all about privacy, we've got WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, Facebook Messenger, iMessage. Let's see exactly what kind of data each one of these apps is collecting on you. So WhatsApp, starting with, it's going to collect your phone number, your email, contacts, look exact location, device ID, user ID, advertising data, your purchase history, your product interaction, payment info, crash data, diagnostic shit, customer support interactions, product interactions, other users that you speak with, and some metadata. Facebook Messenger is worse. It's going to collect your precise location, your course location, physical email, physical address, email address, phone number, other users' contact info, contacts, photos, videos, gameplay content, your browser history, your user ID, your device ID, your third-party advertising information, all this other freaking data. It gets a lot of data on you. iMessage doesn't collect nearly as much. It just gets your email address, your phone number, your search history. Why does iMessage need your search history? And your device ID. Signal doesn't collect shit. That's why we use Signal, use Tor. Well, Tor is really not that secure anymore. Signal's still good. So all you need is your phone number for Signal. The app doesn't link your phone to your identity. If you check the app in the App Store, it says there's literally no data linked to you. Awesome. Telegram, it's going to collect your phone, your name, your phone number, a list of all your contacts on your phone, and your user ID, which doesn't seem that bad. It seems fairly secure, but Signal is definitely better. Facebook, on the other hand, oh my God, all that freaking data Facebook grabs compared to Telegram. Telegram grabs that much. So Telegram, if you're going to create a hierarchy here, Telegram would be better than Facebook Messenger, but Signal would be better than both of them. iMessage would be a little bit worse than Telegram. Yeah. Scary, though, what they collect on you, right, Adrian?
Yeah.
I know my browsing history.
My browser history would probably scare him.
My browsing history would probably scare most people. Also confuse many people. All right. Next, we've got a douchebag posting 10,000 Amex cards for free online. So, yeah, this happened. A threat actor leaked 10,000 Mexican-based Amex cards on a forum. If you take a look at this screenshot, you can pretty much tell which forum this is. Hint, it is Raid Forums. And they analyzed them, and yeah, they're valid credit cards. And they also, of course, in the leak had some PII. They had their people's names, their address, their phone number, date of birth, and their gender. All more than enough info to create a fake card with that info. I'm sure at this point, Amex, since it's available freely, has gone and canceled all those cards and talked to the people. Yep. So Amex neither denied or admitted that they suffered a data breach, but they did share that the Amex holders are not going to be liable for any fraudulent charges. Yep. I never get, I get people selling credit cards that they've stolen from places, but I never got the whole, a whole bunch of credit cards for free thing.
How much all credit cards, just, a number, I guess, security code, how much are they actually worth on the black market right now?
So it depends on the quality, and there's a whole bunch of other factors that go into it. It's not much as you would think. It's only a couple of bucks, but there are things that factor into how much they sell for, like what kind of card it is, the account limit, how old the account is. If you have web-based access to the credit card, that's another thing. That increases the value a lot, because then people can actually check balance and see if somebody's noticed they're using their card type stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different, but they usually sell them in lists, right? So it's like, all these are the same kind of thing. Like, these are all Amex cards that have a high spending limit, and the user happens to be geographically located in this area, and it's like, that's because they get these a lot of different ways, but one of the big ways is skimmers, just on like a POS system. So they get a lot of data that way, because they can grab the track 2 and 3 data, or 1 and 2. I forget which. There are 3 tracks on a credit card. It's probably 1 and 2.
It's 2. Yeah, 1 and 2.
Yeah. So they're able to grab the user, the first and last name from that, the expiration date, and sometimes I think even the CVC is written on the mag stripe, right?
Yeah, it is. But the problem is that only works for card not present transactions, because it'll also tell when they try to run the card, it'll tell if it's a chip card or not. So you're told to put the chip in, and you can't duplicate that right now. So
right, the duplicating the chip is not easy, from what I understand. That's still fairly secure, but if you have the number, there's still a lot of payment processors who will just process the payment without the chip.
Yeah, they have for card present, they have to have as a fallback. But that only, of course, matters if, like, say, you're doing like an online transaction or something like that, where you're not going to be present anyways. So,
right. Like, you could write a credit card with that info, but then it's not going to work with the chip because you don't have a chip.
Correct.
So you can't go to the store and then buy like a big screen TV from Walmart with a cloned card, unless they don't have the chip, which is very few cards now, because even in the US, I think the UK adopted chip and pin first.
They've been issuing them for at least the last couple of years, because right now, if the card holder does have a chip and the merchant doesn't take it, the merchant accepts all liability.
Right. So they've also got like, even the if you want to like set up with Square and do your own payment processing with a credit card, say you're like a vendor, the new ones I think even have the chip and pin. So
they do. They have a chip reader. I mean, they've had that for quite a while now.
Yeah, I remember the old ones were pretty much just audio. It was an audio jack, and you plugged it into your phone, and
it still is. But they can do it. They can do it for chip though too.
They encrypt it now, though. They encrypt the data before it gets to your phone, so you can't just skim it out.
Yeah.
Because they were essentially for a while just giving away free, really cheap card skimmers that people would then take apart and use to skim shit with.
Yeah, basically the old computer-based card readers were basically HID devices, so you could actually swipe it and it would give keyboard output.
I remember that. Yeah, I used to work in a computer lab, and students would come in and we'd swipe their card, and it would just type on the screen what the number was. And it essentially just, it was a HID device, which was really cool.
And also really insecure.
There was also, with those original card readers from like Square, you could plug it into an old school VHS cassette recorder and just record and then do a playback later, which I thought was neat. Because it's literally just recording the mag data. So it's putting it on a different medium, but you're still able to then play it back and then transfer it over to where you want it, which is also really wicked when you think about it. Like combining analog and digital technology for bad. All right. That reminds me of this of a story. Some friends of mine used to go to FedEx Kinko's, and they would get like $100 card for making photocopies and whatnot. But they would really only buy $1 card, and then they would edit the data on the track and said that it was a stored value card. It was a dumb fucking decision on their part. So then now it said there was $100 on there, and they make like 2 photocopies, and they'd be like, "Yeah, we didn't need to make that many copies," and then ask for a refund with the rest of the money. Yeah, that was fun. I tried to hack my laundry machine when I lived in an apartment building, but I failed miserably. That was fun. I bought like the same card that they had and the reader for it, and I looked at the track data, and it was using essentially the same technology that we're now using for credit cards, so it wasn't easily, even though it was stored value, that was storing a value on there, I still couldn't fix it, get it to work.
Yeah, some of those got smart and they start doing like time checks and such, so that way if they read it, because yeah, I mean it's easy. You can get a mag stripe maker for like $30-$40 on Amazon with that, because they have lots of legitimate uses. So yeah.
Next, we have another data breach. This is Vodafone. They are big in the UK. They're a cell phone provider. They not only got personal information, they also got SIM tech data in this dump, which essentially means all these people need to go get a new SIM card in their phone. Lots of fun data in this leak. It's got your email, the person who tweeted about it here. The threat actor is selling a database of the Italian mobile provider's service owned by Vodafone. The dump alleges 200 numbers are hard, man. A lot of people's PII data, phone numbers, ICC ID could be exploited for SIM swap attacks rather. You order to empty your bank account, and you're like, how can somebody empty my bank account if they've just got my SIM card stuff? Well, I'm glad you asked. So all you have to do is figure out what bank the person has and do a password reset, and then they send the code to your phone. Except they'll just go to your phone, go to the attacker's phone, and then they log into your bank account, and then they transfer all your money. Not hard to do. Not that I've ever done it, but still not hard to do. So, and how do you determine what bank somebody uses? Well, if you go to the bank's websites for like the most popular banks, you just try and do a password reset, pop in the person's phone number, see if it works. All right. Next, we've got an Australian cybersecurity agency used as cover in a malware campaign. So the Australian government warns of an ongoing campaign impersonating the Australian Cybersecurity Centre to infect targets with malware, which is hilarious. So they warn some Australians are receiving phone calls and emails from scammers claiming to be them, and that the person's computer has been compromised. And this threat actor masquerades with an official sounding message delivered by them, trying to persuade them to downloading some antivirus, some sketchy antivirus with some malicious links. And once people download it onto their computers, the victims then infect themselves, because that's exactly what happens when you download sketchy virus software from some text message you got. Yeah, people are dumb. This is phishing lures 101, and that's good. Next, we've got a bug on my monitor, which fuck my life. All right. Nissan source code was leaked online after a Git repo misconfiguration. GitHub is a wonderful place if you are a developer to put your code, but you should never do a Git commit when you've got credentials stored, right? Anyway, so the source code of mobile apps and internal tools developed by Nissan North America was leaked online after the company misconfigured a Git server. The leak originated from a Git server that was left exposed to the internet with default username and password combo admin, which is a dumb, stupid thing to do. So yeah, the person was able to get a bunch of their apps, the internal workings of their apps, some diagnostic tools, some dealer portal shit, some iCar service stuff from their portal, client acquisition and retention tools, marketing and sales research tools, a whole bunch of crap that you shouldn't be able to get unless you work for Nissan or are one of their trusted partners. They left exposed with admin. Yep. So anybody who is like going on Shodan looking for open web servers and happened to come across a an open Git server, pretty much had a field day with this and was able to pull down all that fun stuff. Yep. So stop sharing for a sec here. I'm gonna check my message. All right. Next, we've got malware using the Wi-Fi's BSSID to figure out where the heck you are, which I think is neat because if you've ever played around with Wi-Fi stuff, there's this database called wiggle.net, which allows you to do reverse searches on Wi-Fi BSSIDs and tie them to your geolocation. So this malware is taking advantage, not necessarily of that same library, but one similar. Yep. So this one is taking advantage of the BSSID, that is the base service set identifier. And it's kind of like a MAC address tied to your wireless router or access point. And you can see the BSSID command by running a command on Windows. You can grab it. It's essentially netsh wlan show interfaces pipe find BSSID. Well, people do have a free BSSID to geolocation database, which is freely available from this guy, Alexander Mykhlinov. And this malware is taking advantage of that freely available database and making it so that anybody can use it. And yeah, that's cool. All right, just give me one sec here. Some weird shit going on my window. Stop screen. All right, share screen. Let's share screen 2. 1 and 2 are backwards. Okay. All right. I'm trying to share my screen again, Adrian. All right.
Hold on a second.
So anyway, this malware is able to figure out where the heck you are by using this free and open source BSSID to geolocation database. That's kind of scary. So, like, it just looks up, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, so it's not going to work on a wired computer, but still, it's neat functionality. Ticketmaster has been doing some stupid shit. There's a funny story here. So they hired 2 people who used to work for a competitor, right? They poached them. Then they had these people give a presentation where they logged into the website that their old company used, using their old credentials that they had kept, and demonstrated all this vulnerable stuff to a bunch of developers. Essentially, they used their privileged access in a bad way. The guy who did this, he had been promoted after doing so. Eventually, they fired him, because it looked bad publicly when it came out. But still, they hacked a rival essentially and made it hard for that rival to do business. So they're getting fined 10 mil, which I think is a fair amount. That's like what, 1/10 of one concert that they have. So the ticket seller must also report to the attorney's office annually. Yeah, so it's a shitty thing to do. I mean, look, I get people poach people from competitors, but it's one thing to like ask them, hey, can you design me something like you had made at that other company, versus, hey, can you actively log in to the company you used to work for and show us how their systems are vulnerable so we can screw with them when they're trying to process transactions to events that we both host, so that they'll buy tickets with us rather than them. That's messed up. That's a dick move. You try not to do too many dick moves in IT, but it doesn't always happen that way. We got a non-infosec article. I just liked it, so I put it in the show notes. So you know, at Star Trek, how they have no money, or at least they're supposed to not have any money. They always pretend that nobody does money anymore.
In the original show Bible, for the original series, I believe Gene Roddenberry even put in something along the lines of not to talk about political systems. But yeah, they do. Only money they seem to have is gold pressed Latinum, and that stuff. I'm assuming you can't replicate it.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I would think it would hold any value. Otherwise, you just replicate as much as you want, and it would have no value.
Yeah. Well, the article essentially, if you care to read it, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's pretty freaking long. But it talks about how the whole no money thing is a lie, and how the Federation is essentially told they have to tell other places they come in contact with that they don't do money, but when in reality they do money. They just don't talk about it. They're essentially a giant communist space force. So on DS9, there's a lot of the whole gold pressed Latinum stuff like you were talking about, which we find out from I think the initial episode had to do with Quark or what? Not Quark. The Ferengi dude on DS9, whose name?
Quark.
Excuse me. Oh, it's Quark. Okay.
Quark is the main Ferengi dude. He's the guy that owns the bar. His brother is oh crap! I'm trying to remember which one's which. One of his relatives is Nam, but I'm trying to remember if that's his nephew or his brother. Anyway, it's been a while since I watched a few many episodes. You know, Rog. I think Nog was his nephew, and Nam was his brother.
Grog, or yeah, one of them was a brother. Yeah.
I really loved DS9 when I was younger. I still like it.
Yeah, so essentially the Federation trades with other people, and if they're going to trade with other people, they have to have some kind of currency. Otherwise, there's no way to do trade. So, the article goes into some pretty deep details, and even in Picard, we see some stuff about people using money, and on Discovery, it's set like 100 years in the future now. So, in the future from the Star Trek universe that we knew. So they use money again.
Well, which Star Trek universe that we knew?
Yeah.
Because the original series takes place in one timeline. Next Generation and those other ones that from like the 80s and 90s take place, I don't know, about 70 years later. And then Enterprise happens before the original series. And I have no idea what the fuck Discovery's up to, because after I saw what they changed the Klingons to look like, I just lost interest in it.
Discovery, they did time travel, so it's all fucked up.
Okay.
They're in the future now, and they're past all the other Star Trek, essentially, timeline-wise. They are the furthest in the timeline of Star Trek now, in the future.
The new Discovery is 1,000 years beyond, I guess, Picard or whatever. 30th century.
That long.
34th century, something like that.
I was under the impression that Discovery takes place in the time period, but a different timeline as the original series, because characters like Spock show up. I only noticed because I stumbled across a random YouTube video. So it have to take place in a different timeline, but the same time period as the original series.
Correct.
The first two seasons were, I think.
Okay, then they did a time jump of some kind?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a cool plot line. Essentially, they had an evil AI that was trying to take over there and destroy the universe, right? And the Discovery crew had a whole bunch of data that AI wanted, so they jumped to the future so the AI couldn't get it. That way they wouldn't die, but they also wouldn't have the AI be able to get the data. And when they got to the future, you know, they dealt with the whole there's no longer dilithium issue, which, like, apparently at one point all of the lithium in the universe just went goodbye, and now there's like a little bit of it left, but not much.
So they use some new materials for the warp core generators?
Essentially they have a bunch of couriers, and the couriers essentially work to get the lithium to power their ships so that they can continue to work. They're like indentured servants for the lithium. And there's very little of it left. So essentially, when you need to get shit from point A to point B in the universe, you pay one of these dudes to haul your shit, and then he gets his money into lithium, and there's a whole thing to it. Watch it if you like it. I actually like it. Like at first I hated it. Like I thought the show sucked. I just kept watching it because I was bored, and I eventually got to really like it. Like the new episodes are really good. And last but not least, we've got the whole politics shit, right? We already talked about this a lot today. The chaos that erupted in the Capitol. We had essentially a bunch of Trump supporters swarming the Capitol building, and Vice President Pence being swept to a secure location. Senate being evacuated. Woman was shot inside the Capitol, taken to a hospital. She later died. There's no information as to who shot the woman, if it was a police officer or if it was another.
Based on the video I saw, I'm imagining it wasn't the police officer that was shot. I don't know who did the shooting. It's possible a random protester or rioter. I'll be intellectually honest. This rioter may have shot her, or it may have been a police officer that shot her. But it appeared to be
on the videos I've seen, it looks like Secret Service shot her.
Okay, but she definitely looks like a Trump supporter. She had a Trump flag around her, wrapped around her like a cape.
Well, she did. 13 people, all from outside the area had been arrested. That's not many people. They did a 6 p.m. curfew, right? And police in riot gear were standing around the area, and they used tear gas and percussion grenades to disperse the mob. Pelosi sent a message to her colleagues that she wants to get back to work. Thousands of protesters gathered at the National Mall in protest of the election results. A rally an hour before the protesters. Trump urged them to go to the building. We are going to try and give the Republicans, he said, the kind of pride and boldness we need to take back this country. And then Giuliani said some really stupid shit about I forget exactly the wording, but it was essentially encouraging violence.
Was it something like melee combat?
Yeah, he's like the time for peaceful talk has ended. It's time for combat or some shit like that. Anyway, I'll find it later. It's clear the crowd was intent on causing harm to our officers, yada, yada, yada. They tried to force entry to the Capitol. They not only tried, they got in. And people were posting videos of themselves at Nancy Pelosi's computer with it unlocked, which is why we got the title of our podcast today.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that they meant to cause harm to police officers, though. I know they had scuffles when there was fights. I think they just wanted to get in the building and disturb the session so that the vote wouldn't happen. That's what I think they were trying to do.
Right. There's some talk about 2 explosive devices. It doesn't say much more than that about them, though. They were disarmed. There was a woman shot inside the Capitol. Let's see. She died. We know this. Woman falls to the ground following a loud bang inside the building. Onlookers scream for help while she bled on the ground. God damn it. Get out of my freaking... Anyway. He said the woman didn't heed the call as they rushed the chamber windows, and then they shot her in the neck. I don't know who shot her in the neck. It doesn't say. She didn't heed some call. All right. Pelosi says counting will resume. They already know he's got the votes. Capitol lockdown after protest breach building. That happened. So they got in there. Protesters were in the building, going around, going to people's offices. Screwing. Oh my God, I'm going to fucking kill this guy. All right.
You can't just close the chat application. I don't know why I'm studying tonight.
It's Teams.
Oh,
yeah, it's a work thing. All right. So protesters celebrate breaching the Capitol. They did that. Trump repeats claims that it's a rigged election. So first, Biden went on TV asking Trump to denounce these protesters. And then Trump went on TV and told protesters to go home. He also told them he loved them and that the election was rigged. So
not all the people who were protesting were necessarily doing the violence.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, I don't think the Capitol building would hold as many people as I saw clustered around there was a lot of people. I mean, it's not like they were all involved in that particular break-in, though there was plenty of them apparently, because it takes, I'd imagine it would take a fair amount of people to be able to actually get past all those, all the guards.
I would imagine you would definitely need a lot of people to get into the Capitol and run past the police. Counter protesters, Black Lives Matter, rainbow flags, anti-Trump music. So at Black Lives Matter Plaza, which is just a few blocks from the White House, 2 counter protesters camped out between police barricades playing FDT by rapper YG. I don't know any of those things.
No, me either.
So this is 2 people who stood before a line of Black Lives Matter and rainbow flags, trading insults with passing Trump supporters. I don't know why this even made the news. It's literally 2 people. That's not a lot of people for a protest, an anti-protest, whatever you want to call it. From legitimate questions to naked treason, whatever the hell this is. This woman believes she saw some suspicious stuff with ballot counting, yada, yada, yada. It's just an interview with some Trumper they saw at the campaign, at the protest, rather. She said it's kind of our duty as American citizens to stand up against naked treason. Biden, however, did not host a large events at the behest of public health experts who urged Americans to avoid large gatherings. Yeah, it goes on and on and on and on and on, and it's almost done. All right, it's done. So Congress's count of the Electoral College, a normally symbolic affair, affirming the president-elect's victory, is set to be contentious, lengthy, and when the House and Senate convene in a joint session, the electoral votes on Wednesday. Yada, yada. All right, it's over now. It's done. I don't know if they're still counting. I don't know what's going on. That's all I got. I'm sure more shit's happening, but that's all I got from my show notes.
Yeah, I'm going to check out some casts tonight to see what exactly is going on. And
it's 8:00. Tim just started, so you can watch that.
Yeah, webcam. Camera video kind of sucks in a lot of cases because everything is freaking shaky and people hold it vertically and you can't see what's going on. So I wonder if anybody has some good footage that I'll be able to see before long, so I can see more of what exactly went by and how many people actually got in the building.
Yep.
I assume a fair number because otherwise the cops would take pretty quick care of them, I would imagine.
I agree.
I've never been to the Capitol building to my knowledge, so I don't know what kind of security they have there. But considering that they knew a big rally was going to be happening and there was going to be protesters on both sides coming, you'd think they would up security that particular day.
You remember back 6 months ago when in Washington, D.C., Trump did that photo op at the church and it was a shit show, and they essentially were like, no National Guardsmen were allowed in D.C., and they actually actively went to hotels where they were staying and told them they had to kick out anybody from the National Guard. And the D.C. mayor had a formal thing. She went on TV and she was like, the National Guard is not welcome in Washington, D.C. Now we got the protests and shit, and they definitely they want the National Guard now. Even Pelosi was like, we need the National Guard. So given it's a very different situation, but I'm just calling to light the whole hypocrisy of saying National Guard people are not welcome here, and then
I've seen people
Guard. It's kind of like the same hypocrisy with people who are like, we need to defund the police, but then the second somebody breaks into their house, who the fuck are they calling? They're not calling the community action team.
Yeah, I've seen memes from both sides of the aisle, pulling up old tweets and new tweets that are totally not in mesh with each other. Yes. Yeah, I know there's one of Rachel Maddow going around, or one of AOC, and I know there's one of some conservative person who is also saying some hypocritical stuff. I don't remember which one that was, though.
So Barry, why are you a Ryzen processor?
Oh, I now remember who it was. Who's that blonde lady? Who I know I'm not being very specific. She used to be, I want to say, on The Blaze and Tommy something, Tommy Lauren. That's who it was.
Tommy Lauren? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, her saying some fairly, hypocritical stuff as well.
Well,
Or actually, in her case, it was a bad prediction about who would riot and who wouldn't if depending on which person got elected. But
there's a
I'm
few.
looking more into it tonight.
Anyway, I'm a Ryzen because I finally scored the 5950.
Oh, good for you, man. Ah, shit, wrong button. I hit the wrong button. Stop sharing my screen. All right, there we go. All right.
So that's the fastest CPU on the market.
Here's the takeaway. There's this website, they do media bias, right? They're called All Sides, and all they do is they rank media corporations and they show if they're biased to the left, biased to the right, in the center, or like right between there. And they got this whole chart they put together. You're talking about the Blaze, that is one that's right in the far right. We got Newsmax and OAN and the New York.
I would think those last two would probably be pretty far right. I don't know if I'd put the Blaze quite far that right. Did they put the Young Turks on there at all?
Well, even if they're not on this particular chart, they actually would have them. All I'd have to do is do a search and look for search for them. But their website's not the easiest to navigate. They do have a search function in here somewhere. I've used it before. I can just do this. All right, Young. Nope, no Young. Okay.
Could also be TYT.
Young.
Abbreviated that way.
There we go. The Young Turks are go. Where the fuck is it? All right. So no records found for the Young Turks. So I guess they did not.
That seems strange because I thought they were one of the bigger news shows on YouTube.
They're individuals. They're just a show. They're not a news organization or a company.
Well, the Young Turks is a company. Can't know how to pronounce his last name now. Chunk Yuga owns it, I think, or at least is in major control of it. I think he has a bunch of investors.
And they've got articles on their site linking to it, but I don't think they actually did a rating for Young Turks.
Okay,
it's a show. It's not a actual news publisher.
Gotcha. I mean, technically, if you want to get to it, the Daily Wire, not the Daily Wire. Where is it? Daily Caller. I don't know. Some of these.
There's a Daily Wire, there's a Daily Caller, and there's the Daily Beast, and I can't remember which one's which because one of them is on the right side of politics, one's on the left side of the politics, and I'm not sure about.
Daily Beast is left side.
Yeah, I know that. Right, Daily Beast is left. Daily. Oh, goes with the other ones. The Daily Caller and the Daily Mail. I don't remember which one of those is Ben Shapiro own.
Daily Wire is Ben Shapiro, but he has other. It's a whole company. It's broadcasting it's a podcast and everything else. So,
yeah, I find it interesting that the AP fact check is slightly left leaning, which is
slightly.
Well, it's in the middle. It's in the slight left category here, as opposed to the far left category. It says it leans left as opposed to being on the far left. But yeah, I found this site interesting, and may you check your media sources and make sure that they are somewhat less biased. Yeah. I guess if it's in the seat, it should be less biased, but here it says everyone's biased, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess if you're in the center, you're a little bit less biased towards the left or right, but I don't know. I definitely listen to AP. I listen to BBC News. I don't listen to Christian Science Monitor. I've listened to Reuters. Sometimes USA Today, not often though. I think I've read some articles on their site, but I know I have gone to the Daily Wire. I do like some of Ben Shapiro's stuff, mostly because he pisses people off I don't like, not because I actually like or respect his own opinions. I have gone to Democracy Now! They actually used to have some good shit. Huffington Post is good for articles on like celebrity gossip, but I certainly wouldn't go there for my politics information. New York Times Opinions is pretty left, that's for sure. Yeah. So
Yeah, this chart is better than one of the other ones I've seen. Oh, someone's asking in the chat, how biased is all sides?
apparently, according to their own research, I would say, since they say everybody is a little biased, then that would mean that they're a little biased. But that's just if you're going to apply.
Yeah, I've seen worse charts than this as far as defining where people line up. This one seemed mostly fair for what I looked on what you posted earlier.
Yeah, I don't know. From what I understand, this site is fairly decent. At least the people who I've seen pushing this site don't tend to be far left or far right. So I don't know. Take a grain of salt like you take everything. Did you see a while back that Dual Core did the intro to Trusted Sex Podcast?
I know he did one way back when. Also, maybe a new one.
It was about maybe 6 or 7 months ago. I think he did it. Maybe.
Okay, then he must have done a newer one that I don't know about.
I wonder if we can get him to do us a intro. He probably won't, but I mean, they probably paid him because they're Trusted Sec. We don't have money. We have nothing. But I wonder if he'd do one for us. Here, ask him. If not, what?
What I don't like about these kinds of sites is they don't separate agenda-driven sites. Well, I guess I would say if it's saying it's left or right, it's agenda-driven. I guess that's not 100% true. Actually, if you can consider it left or right, it would have to be at least partly agenda-driven shit. Agenda-driven. I'm not having an easy time speaking tonight.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have much else to say. Do you have any much else to say for this cast?
Nope. I think we're good. Everybody stay safe out there. You know, don't do anything stupid.
Yes, definitely don't do anything stupid.
Other than follow this cast.
Yes. See y'all next Wednesday.
See y'all next Wednesday.
Later.